One of the key factors shared amongst long-standing successful esports titles is strategy. Does the game's mechanic and resources allow execution at a high level? Overwatch, still young in its esports lifespan, has its share of staple strategies. As the Overwatch League has shown, new strategies are formed with each patch as different heroes become more effective. In the next several episodes, we will explore the different strategies used over the history of Overwatch, starting with one of the very first, the Death Ball. Death Ball is a strategy that existed in other games such as StarCraft 2, where players would concentrate their army into a massive ball to overwhelm the enemy defenses. Death Ball is also prevalent in Dota 2, where all 5 players would group up to bulldoze towers and assault the throne or the ancient. The concept of overwhelming the enemy also emerged into Overwatch, aided by the power-up tanks to mitigate incoming damage, creating Overwatch's own version of the Death Ball. For many months, pro games were dominated by Reinhardt-based compositions, during its golden age of the bulky triple tank meta, which is similar to Death Ball but has its own distinct qualities. Death Ball was a dominant strategy until the introduction of the dive comp. Dive, with its mobility, allowed skilled teams to dance circles around the slower Death Ball, cutting off the backline, which was a necessity to keep the frontline alive. This marked the decline of Reinhardt over heroes such as Winston, which marked the decline of the Death Ball overall.
Team to the finals. Looks like they're going to have to wait though as Bumper goes down in this push. Probably going to get stalled out. Oh, a 5-man Earthshatter though. They're going to give the Nano boost. He gets 2!
In Season 10, Reinhardt slowly became a favorable pick with the changes to Hanzo and Zarya and the introduction of Brigitte to the hero pool. Death Ball is all about coordinated shoulder-to-shoulder advances. This mobile death trap is accompanied by 2 defensive shields and steady source of healing, making it an unstoppable force when it reaches its optimal range. Unlike the strategies we will feature in future episodes, Death Ball is open in terms of different team comp combinations. The absolute necessity in a Death Ball is Reinhardt and Lucio. The rest can be up to your liking. The Death Ball has many variations depending on the meta as different DPS heroes become more favorable, hence the birth of the following compositions. As you can see, some of the pieces remain the same, while the damage dealers change depending on the current meta. Back in Season 2, Ana was actually favored because her ultimate, Nano Boost, played an integral role to what is now known as the Beyblade meta. With the introduction of Moira to the hero roster, her AoE healing and ultimate became more preferable and made her the second staple support next to Lucio over Ana. And now with Brigitte introduced to the hero roster, the Death Ball now has another source of CC, healing, and shield, making the Death Ball even more deadly than previous seasons. Death Ball is a playstyle that involves optimization, coordination, and positioning, establishing a solid position on the objective, which forces the enemy to come to you, allowing your team to overwhelm them as a group. The heart and soul of Death Ball revolves around your Reinhardt and Lucio. Consistent shielding, healing, and speed boosts are key to advance the ball to the objective. The composition advances forward behind Reinhardt's shield and seeks to overwhelm the enemy with damage and high HP. The devastating close-range damage and a high HP pool that can't be bursted down quickly is the focal point of this strategy. The weakness of Death Ball is that the tanks lack verticality. With Reinhardt and Zarya, the comp lacks the ability to challenge the high ground. This makes Pharah one of the best counters for Death Ball, as she utilizes the terrain to her advantage. It is important to save as much of your Reinhardt shield as possible for the approach to the objective. The pick potential of the current Death Ball is with Brigitte's Shield Bash stun, which leads into your DPS and tank's burst damage, being able to eliminate even the bulkiest of tanks. The important thing when running this strategy is to be decisive. This doesn't mean be reckless, just commit to your advances without looking back. Because the moment even one piece of the Death Ball falls out of line, it makes for easy pickings for the enemy team. It may seem ineffective when you're starting the Death Ball march, But the moment you're face to face with the enemy team at the objective, you'll know that it's your team's time to shine as you plow them over with sheer force and momentum. This ends the first part of the Overwatch strategy series. Deathball was just the beginning in the many different strategies thought up by the players. Join us next episode where we explore further down the timeline and see which meta dominated the game.